Welcome friends, chapter 1, section 1. So we are going to talk about communication, business communication. Why this is being kept in semester 1? Because everything will be based on this communication. You need to understand, learn lot of communication. I'm not saying that you have not learned communication thus far in your life. Obviously you have passed examinations, done your graduation, maybe few of you are engineers and done a lot of other courses, but still, why we have introduced this communication at this stage? Because it's not communication alone. It's business communication. दिल तोड़ते भी हैं, यही दिल जोड़ते भी हैं, लफ्ज़ों का इस्तेमाल हिफाजत से कीजिए. You understand that business is all about networking, connecting with others, talking to others, understanding them, making and strengthening relationship with others, and for this we need communication. So this is chapter 1, section 1, professional communication in a digital, social, mobile world is the name of the chapter 1, and the section we are going to talk about, we'll be talking about the importance of communication. 6 sections we have in this chapter. Section 1 is importance of communication. Section 2 will be talking about define professional communication. We'll understand what is professional communication. Section 3 will talk about the process model of communication. Then 4 obviously is concentrating about the mobile communication because now everything is mobile. 6 is talking about the communication technologies. We'll review communication technologies, and then last section will talk about the ethics of communication. How can we ensure that the communication is ethical? One by one. In this entire course, what are we going to do? That for every section of a chapter, I'll be talking to you. I'll be sharing certain videos with you. And then you are required to note down certain points. During the videos, during the discussion, you may miss those points. So you will get ample opportunity to note down those points. Then open house discussion will happen. And then we'll end every section with one or few questions to check your understanding about that section. So one by one, this is understanding why communication matters. No matter what you do, what job you have in life, your success will determine 5% by your academic credentials, 15% by your professional experience, and 80% by your communication skills. So you may be learning a lot of technical papers, technical aspects of management, like strategic management, like accounting, like marketing, like human resource management. But for every aspect of management, you need to follow, you need to do something which is communication. And as the graph shows, that 5% only is coming from academics, 15% is coming from experience, and this entire thing, 80% is based on communication.
Communication skills make a whole world of difference in how you show up in the world and how satisfied you are with life and in life. And I don't say this lightly. Every day, we communicate with other human beings around us. And that includes our family, our spouse and partner, our friends, our peers, our coworkers and colleagues. Now, that's a whole lot of people that we interact with on a daily basis. And if we don't know how to communicate and interact with them in ways that are mutually satisfying, then our life becomes restricted just a little bit each time our conversations break down. Just think about it. If your communication was skilled and effective, and your conversations productive, what would it mean for your career? Would you be able to get a promotion? Or a raise? How about more or fewer responsibilities? What would skilled conversations be like in meeting and finding your future spouse or partner? How about developing more satisfying relationships with your family, friends, and peers? How would your relationships with all the individuals in your life improve as a result of learning how to master your communication and conversation skills? In fact, without an emphasis on proper communication, on effective communication, our relationships with those individuals that surround our life become just a little bit less valued, perhaps even a little bit less important. So, if you want the relationships that you have to become stronger, strengthened, become important and filled with trust, then it is worth your effort to improve your communication skills.
So, as you have seen this video related to importance of communication, we have understood that for your career, this communication is important to, one, fulfill your ambitions. You have something in your mind, you want to achieve certain goals, you are having a lot of roles, you want to fulfill your obligations and every goal. Now the question is that how can you pursue those roles, goals, small goals, big goals, ambitions and so on? Communication will be able to help you out. You will be able to clarify what you have in your mind as your short-term goal, long-term goal. How can you share your goal with your superiors and family members and peers and friends so that they may also understand and appreciate and may contribute towards fulfillment of your goal, and you will be in a position to express ideas about your views, about the views of the others, and if you are in a position to remain hooked to your goals, ambitions, and express your ideas well, you know that you are going to progress in your career. Now, for your company, this communication is equally important. Why? Because with the help of this, you will be able to connect your company with lot of backward linkages and forward linkages of your company. Means you will be able to connect your company with suppliers and buyers, with channel partners. So it will be like marketplace ties. You will be in a position to understand the trends. You will be in a position to understand the conversation. You will be in a position to talk about future prospects of your company, the plans you are having in your mind with your channel partners. Your suppliers will be able to supply accordingly. Your channel partners means your retailers, your upside sellers will be able to gear themselves up for the new challenge. In the case of within the company, you will be able to handle problems related to production, problems related to fulfillment of expectations of your internal customers, and this communication will help you out. This will have its repercussions on financial outcomes. If things are moving smoothly in your company, then obviously it will cost less, and then return on investment will be high. The next will be that you will be able to handle existing problems. Not only this, but you will be able to identify potential problems whenever the communication is not happening smoothly, whenever you are in a position to understand that other parties are not comfortable, meaning thereby that there is a potential problem. So if you are well versed with the art of communication, then you will be able to understand potential problems, and with all this you will be able to come to a conclusion with better information, better factors within your portfolio, and then it will help you in the process of decision making. In companies, you are also preparing certain messages for your market, for your customers. So if you are well versed with the art of communication, then you will be able to prepare good messages for your market. Even your employees, I mean your fellow workers, your colleagues, your subordinates, they need to talk, they need to communicate. So if they are in a position to tell their challenges, their issues, their aspects, their concerns with you, and you are also in a position to talk about the concerns of the company with them, then it will lead to better employee engagement. So, this effective communication should have one, the aspect of practicality. Whatever you are communicating, whatever you are sharing, whatever you are telling to others, whatever you are asking others to supply as piece of information to you, should be practical, should be based on facts, not guesswork, not idea, not assumption, but facts. Should not be vague, it should be concise, it should be presented in a manner so that it's not having a lot of jargons, lot of periphery words, but the message is plain and simple in front of you. So, this will lead to clarity and this will enhance the persuasiveness of the message. After this section 1.1 of chapter 1, let's talk about section 1.2, objectives of communication in digital world. So what are the objectives which we have redefined in the new digital world? We used to say that communication is meant for three objectives. 1, to inform, 2, to collaborate, 3, to persuade. Only three objectives were there. But now in this new digital world, we have more objectives to be fulfilled by the communication. There is a beautiful talk by Helen Morris Brown on the psychology of communicating effectively in digital world. You will note it down and go to YouTube, find her video, watch it, and then tomorrow during the discussion time we will understand, we will discuss the issues highlighted by her. Few points which are being treated as objectives of communication in modern digital world is 1, share information, means inform, which was there even before the digital tools or digital world. The second is communicate goals. This we have added. In the previous three things we were having inform, collaborate and persuade. So now we need to talk about the goals also. Then the third one is issue orders and instructions. People must know what are they supposed to do. You must know how to ask them to do, and only this will lead to accomplishment of goals. At times, if they are not in a position to understand or do the job as per instructions, then you need to counsel them. Tell them what are they supposed to do, why certain things are not happening, and so on. And then you need to advise them what should they do to fulfill the objectives of the organization. This will lead to motivating them. In this manner, you will be motivating them, and finally, you are educating and training them. So friends, objectives of communication in this new digital world are share information, communicate about the goals, issue orders and instructions to your colleagues, counsel them, advise them, motivate them, and educate and train them. Now friends, let's talk about this section 1.3, which is defining what is professional communication and how are you supposed to communicate as a professional. Now the question is, who is professional? What are the elements of professionalism? So, there are 6 elements of professionalism. 1, be the best. 2, be dependable. 3, be team player. 4, be respectful. 5, be ethical. And 6, be positive. You may be wondering what actually be the best or be dependable or be team player means. So we have this image. With the help of this image, let's see what it really means. When we say be the best, means professionals should strive to excel and exceeding at every level, and in this manner you'll be able to build your image. This will help you to create better career for you. What does it mean to be dependable? Professionals should keep their promises, meet their commitments, learn from their mistakes, and take responsibility for their errors. So they should learn from their errors. When we say that you should be a team player, so it means that you must know how to contribute towards your team and make others feel better because of your presence. Then, be respectful means what? Follow the good business etiquettes. Good business etiquette is a sign of respect for those around you. Respecting others is not only good, it's also good for your careers. When you will respect others, they will respond in a similar fashion to you. Then, the next one is be positive. What is this be positive? You own it to yourself, your colleagues, and your company to maintain a positive outlook. Even when the things are not moving in the desired direction, when it's going tough, still you have to be positive. And finally, be ethical. Be ethical means what? Responsible professionals work to avoid ethical lapses. Means you are not supposed to do something which may be treated as unacceptable from you. To avoid ethical lapses, you have to weigh pros and cons of all the options which you have and then come to a conclusion, take your call. Then the next part of this is to understand what your employer is expecting from you. As a professional, you are serving your boss, you are catering to the needs of your company and customers as well. So, what your employer is expecting from you is really a big part. If you will be in a position to understand that what your employer is expecting from you, then obviously you will be able to fulfill those expectations. And if you are somehow in a position to fulfill those expectations, you know the results. So, the first thing which an organization or employer is expecting from you is to organize ideas. Everybody, each one of us is having lots of ideas, full of ideas we are. But are we in a position to organize our ideas so that they may be communicated in a beautiful fashion, in a persuasive manner? So the first thing is organize your ideas. Then the second is, after organizing your ideas, is to express yourself, how to put your things in front of others. Then the third is, natural outcome of this is persuasive arguments. You know what are you trying to communicate, you know how to communicate, and now you also know how to put your things in a persuasive manner. This all needs proper collection and evaluation of data. You will be persuasive if you have adequate facts in hand. You are in a position to quote real data, so collect, evaluate data. This all will depend how well are you in a position to listen to others. If you want to make your idea acceptable by others, then you must be in a position to listen to them, first understand, and then probably they'll be in a better position to understand you. This will happen with one very beautiful reality and understanding, that is diversity. Each one of us are different from each other because of our upbringing, cultural background, thought process, paradigms, and so on. So, understand that the people are diverse and they may behave in a different fashion altogether. So, listen, understand them. You have already organized your ideas, you know how to communicate and how to put that thing in a persuasive manner. For all this, you need to know the technology. You have to be tech savvy. You should know how to organize your ideas with the help of technology, how to be ready to put your points forward with the technology. This also depends upon high quality writing. Nowadays, we feel that most of the things are being done by the computers, so we don't need to learn that much writing ability, but no, it's not that much correct. Technology will be able to help us up to some extent. We should know how to write effectively. We'll be talking about all such things in the next few chapters as well. Then, a particular message can't be delivered in the same fashion to diverse groups of people. So, you have to adapt. You have to change your message. So, adapting your message is also one of the things which your employer is expecting from you. Of course, you must know business etiquettes. What are you supposed to do in a particular situation? You have to be ethical. This we have already discussed. Between the two or more choices, you have to understand which one lead to a better expectation fulfillment. You have to maintain the confidentiality of the facts which your organization has shared with you. Similarly, about the information which you got in the course of transaction about your customers. You must know the law of land and regulations so that you may not get caught in something which is not approved by the law. And finally, you must know the time management. Whenever we'll find time, we'll talk about time management also. There is a beautiful time management matrix which may help you to organize yourself as far as time management is concerned. This communication in an organizational context may happen in two ways. One is formal and another is informal. This formal may happen downward, upward, and horizontal. And this informal will be interactive, grapevine, social media, etc., etc. Let's understand the formal communication first, and then we'll be able to understand this informal communication too. What is this formal communication? So this is organogram in front of you. Organogram is organization chart with the help of which you understand who is at the helm of affairs, and then next to that person, positions, persons, and so on. So at the helm of affairs, we have president, then we have vice president finance, vice president marketing, vice president research and development, vice president production, and under the vice president finance, we have accounting manager, vice president marketing, we have director of sales, director of advertising and promotion, and so on. This is organogram, with the help of which we are in a position to understand various positions in the company and how they are connected with each other. So, let's understand how communication is being treated as downward communication. Whenever a person at the top is communicating with someone who is at the lower level, then this is something known as downward communication. Blue line is showing downward communication. This is downward communication. This is director sales when talking to retail sales manager is downward communication. When director of advertising and promotion is talking to advertising manager, it is downward communication. So this is the meaning of the term downward communication. Then the next is upward. If something is coming down, then obviously something will be going up as well. So upward communication is being shown in the diagram with the purple color line. So line B supervisor communicating with the plant manager is upward communication. Vice president production communicating with the president is upward communication. Then what is horizontal communication? When two positions or the persons at par positions are communicating with each other, then it's being treated as horizontal communication. This is being shown with a brown line in our organogram. So when director of advertising and promotion is communicating with plant manager, this is horizontal communication. Similarly, when vice president in marketing is communicating with vice president of finance, then this is being treated as horizontal communication. So friends, this is formal communication. If something is happening, communication is happening upward, downward or horizontal, then this is formal communication as per the line of authority. This is also known as line of authority. But if now vice president research and development is now communicating with line A supervisor, this will also be treated as downward communication. But friends, he should communicate with a person who is directly connected with him, but nobody is there to report, or nobody is there who may be treated as connected to him. So this is informal communication. Or vice president production is now talking to e-commerce manager. Informal communication. They don't have line authority, so this is being treated as informal communication. In the previous slide, which we have already seen, it is interaction, maybe happening with the help of social media, or maybe grapevine, means it's hearsay. You heard something during lunch hours, people were talking about a particular aspect, and then you also started sharing that piece of information with others. Or you got a WhatsApp message and you relied on that, and then now you started sharing that thing with others within the organization, outside the organization. Then friends, this will be treated as informal communication. Whatever you communicate has to be focused on something. What is the focal point of communication? Is a person standing in front of you, the person with whom you are communicating. So I have to be you oriented, means I must communicate in a way which is in a position to address the needs of the other person, concerns of the other person, and take care of the problems, issues, aspects of other person. For this, friends, we need emotional intelligence. I must be in a position to understand how to suppress my feelings at a particular point of time when communicating with others, and how to behave in a adequate manner with business etiquettes, protocols when communicating with others. You must have experienced this when you are trying to make a complaint with someone at a call center. So how they communicate with you? You may be arguing, you may be say having altercation, you may be say blaming them, but the person will not lose his cool. The person will maintain his calm. This is emotional intelligence. He'll keep on understanding your aspect. He'll keep on pacifying you. Will tell what he or she is in a position to do and what he or she will not be able to do, and how much time it may take. So this is something known as you attitude. So whatever you are communicating, whatever we are communicating is related to the person with whom we are communicating. Let's talk about section 1.4. It's talking about the communication process model. We have already understood the importance of communication, objectives of communication in digital world, and then we have also understood what's the role of professional and who may be termed as a professional in this digital age. Now, with this understanding, let's go to understand communication process. What is this communication process? With the help of this diagram, we'll be able to understand communication process. The first thing which we have in front of us is the sender has an idea. Sender is having something in his mind and want to share that thing with someone else. So the first step is sender is having an idea. Then the second thing is sender encodes that idea in a message. So now sender has converted this into a message. Let's have a larger view of this. So now sender has encoded the idea in a message. Then the third step is sender produces that message in a medium. What is this medium? And what is this message? What may be the difference between message and medium? Just to have a slight idea, message means I want to say something, that you please bring a glass of water for me. This is the message. Medium, how can I say? I may give this in writing, I may text you, I may ask you, that will be verbal thing. So what is a medium? It is written, oral, digital, electronic, through WhatsApp, email, and so on and so forth. So we have lots of options with us. This is being termed as selection of medium so that the message may be communicated to the sender. So the fourth step is sender transmits the message through a channel. The person who has perceived this idea, converted this idea into message, selected a medium, is now sending this, transmitting this through a channel. I have already shared that in the case of say text, so you will select a channel, that is a digital channel. Then the fifth step is audience or the recipient receives the message. So now the second party has emerged in the scene. This party has received the message. It doesn't mean that the person has read the message or understood the message, but only received the message. Now, sixth is audience decodes the message. Means the audience has read it, trying to understand, means decoding. This is opposite to the coding which sender has done in stage 2. Then stage 7, audience responds to the message, means the person will say that yeah, I'm bringing the glass of water for you. And then automatically 8th stage emerges, that is audience might also provide feedback to the sender. If feedback is needed, then feedback will be given. If feedback is not needed, then it will not be given. So this is, friends, a simple communication model, basic communication model. Whenever we are trying to communicate something with someone, then we may have certain barriers. I may say that I am thirsty. Then the person may feel that yeah, I must be provided something to quench my thirst, something to drink. Then what should be provided to me will be a call or decision or judgment by the other person. And I was having in my mind that I want to have a glass of water, but the other person is thinking that I must be given a glass of juice. So there is a difference in communication. So a lot of such barriers are there. What kind of barriers we may have? The first one is being treated as semantic barrier. The second is socio-psychological barrier. Third one is personal barrier. Fourth one is physical barrier. And the fifth is organizational barrier. One by one, let's understand the meaning of all such barriers. The first one is semantic barriers. What do we understand by the term semantic? Semantic means similar words or words sounding same, or the words trying to carry the same meaning. This is something like semantic. So semantic barriers means what kind of challenges we may face. The first one is related to vocabulary. I am using a word in a particular fashion and you or the other person may be in the habit of using the same word in a different fashion. So are we using the same vocabulary? This may create a barrier. Then the second one is jargons. What is this jargon? Jargon is the technical word or abbreviations or way to communicate in which a small group starts communicating within itself. Normally, like a small abbreviation, we say ASAP, as early as possible. This is being understood by everyone. But you may create your own abbreviation or jargon which may not be understood by everybody. So you have to be very cautious. Certain jargons are being understood by youngsters very easily, but such jargons are not being understood by senior people. So with whom you are communicating, what kind of jargons you may use, we have to be very cautious about it. Then the third one is euphemism. Euphemism means what? That you are using discourteous words, harsh words. You may use soft words to communicate your thought, but instead of using soft word, indicative word, you are using harsh words. So avoid harsh words. This may create a barrier. If strong words are being used, then the other person will become defensive, and defensive person will not be able to receive the message. Then the next one is slang. Slang is again a casual term or playful term which normally may be used within a group, within a particular part of geographical area, within one say technical group. So avoid slangs if you are communicating out of that group or geographical region. Then the next one is abstract and ambiguous words. Abstract and ambiguous words, each one of us is using nowadays. You got a message on WhatsApp. You are unable to understand what to say. You just said amazing. What is this amazing? Or you said beautiful. What's beautiful about it? So it's abstract and ambiguous. So this is also going to create a lot of barriers. And finally, friends, wrong translation. A word for the word probably is impossible to find. For a particular word in English, you will not be able to find the same word in Hindi. So you have to understand the feeling of the sender and then communicate that after translating it in a particular fashion in the same sense. So friends, these are the barriers known as semantic barriers. The next section, we have socio-psychological barriers. Socio-psychological barriers are three. One is perceptual differences, another is attitudinal differences, and the third one is conflicting signals. Perceptual differences are differences caused by upbringing, age, gender, religion, caste, etc., etc. So, I am perceiving a particular expression in a different fashion. Why? Because I have a different perception. I have a different paradigm. Then, attitude means a particular way of thinking. My attitude is positive. My attitude is negative, or it is neutral. So, whatever is being communicated to me, it will be received by me in a way I take the things, the attitude I am carrying. The third one is conflicting signals, means whatever you are saying and whatever your body language is saying are the two different things. So, the other person will not be able to understand what is the real message. So, this is also socio-psychological barrier. The third section of such barriers is personal barriers. Personal barriers means what? Like emotional conflict. Emotional conflict means what? That you are having very high emotions, maybe negative emotions or positive emotions, excessive emotions. So we understand that if we are not stable or the emotional level is very high or low maybe, then it's difficult to express. Then this will be a personal barrier. A person may be, say, emotionally not that much balanced. Then that person will not be able to communicate effectively. Then the second one is poor listening. If the person is not listening well, then obviously it will create a lot of communication barriers. Then the third one is poor retention. You are unable to retain whatever facts or incidences the other person has shared with you. So how would you be able to respond? So poor retention is also going to cause barrier. And finally, premature evaluation. You are not in a position to understand, listen thoroughly, allowing other person to complete his or her expression or the sentence or the paragraph or the narrative. And before conclusion of the other person, you are jumping to something that is like evaluating quickly, premature evaluation. Then the next segment, friends, is physical barriers. Physical barriers means what? That there is a lot of noise. At times you must have experienced that you got a call from a call center, or you are trying to communicate with the company. So your call got landed in a call center, and in the call center a lot of noise is there. How can you communicate now? Or your mom is trying to communicate with you and you are in the market. You are having a lot of noise. Your mom is not in a position to listen you out. You are also not in a position to hear her. So this is something like noise. Distance. Distance means what? That we are not sitting close enough to be heard properly. So this is like distance. So if you are trying to communicate with someone who is not within a reasonable distance, then obviously it will be treated as a barrier in the environment. Then faulty equipment. You are in a position to see this in picture, that the old telephone is being used. The equipment is not good enough to communicate, to help you to communicate with the other person. Then what may be the meaning of the term time? Time means at what time a person should communicate. What is the appropriate time to communicate? Odd hours are there, like before working hours, after working hours. You shouldn't make official calls. Even personal calls should be restricted in a reasonable time limit. Like personally, I'll never like to talk to someone, maybe a person within my family, friend circle, or officially after 9 p.m. No, it's a personal time. 9 to 6, 9 to 7, no communication. Why? The person may not feel like communicating at that time. So you have to understand the limitation of time also. Now, we have few organizational barriers also. We have already understood what is this organization. With the help of one organogram, that organogram is in a position to show the organization structure to us. Formal, informal, upward, downward, horizontal communication we have understood. So friends, if informal communication is not being preferred by the organization, or organization prefers only downward communication, we don't allow upward communication or horizontal communication, then this will be treated as organizational barriers. This will be based on certain rules and regulations, or if you want to talk to your boss or maybe boss of your boss, then you need to seek permission of your boss. This is organizational barrier imposed by rules and regulations. Third one is roles and status. Who is allowed to communicate with whom? Whose role is to share information? So these aspects are also being treated as organizational barriers. Obviously, this has nothing but to do with only one aspect, that is supervisor-subordinate relationship. Rules and regulations, role and status may not be allowing a particular kind of communication. But if supervisor-subordinate relationship is healthy, then the communication will be easy. But if it's not healthy, then obviously this will be again organizational barrier. Now the question is that how can we outcome of such aspects? How can we destroy the barriers? How can we come out the barriers while communicating within the organization or in the business? So few points are there. One, flat organizational structure. Flat organizational structure means what? That reduce the number of levels in the structure or organization. Taller the organization, difficult it will be to communicate. Flatter the organization, easy it will be to communicate. Then, improved relationships. Just before this slide, we have answered the supervisor-subordinate relationships. So, let's see how can we improve the relationship. The third point is training. We should train subordinates and supervisors as well to communicate well so that they may not suffer from such barriers. We have to promote two-way communication within the organization, and it should be dynamic. Dynamic means both the parties are in a position to interact with each other. Timely information is also really important. If the information is not being provided in time, then the value of information will go down. Correctness of communication is really important. This will also reduce the barriers. And finally, the message should be clear and concise.